a good week rodeo, and what does a guy make? 5 to 10?
What do you say? I mean, if
well, it just depends on the year. Like in the summer, yeah, I think me and Ty, we're kind of going to be upset if we don't win 5,000 a week.
5 to 10 a week rodeoing. What are the?
Hey,
what's
it's a lot easier making your living with a rope. I'll tell you right now.
Oh, it's easier. That's what you saw.
You're dang right.
What's that?
You're damn right.
Like?
It is so much manual labor. Have a good day in the food trailer and we sell, our total sales will be, almost 5,000. I'm like, it's way easier to be about 7.5 and win that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Let's Freakin Rodeo podcast presented by Boot Barn.
Today on the podcast, we have Shane Hanchey for a part 2. I'm excited about this one. Shane Hanchey is more than just a calf roper. He's a successful businessman with multiple ventures outside of the arena.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, everyone's seen what he's done. If you've watched rodeo or been a fan of rodeo for very long, you know that he has an amazing career. But getting to talk to him and kind of pick his brain and see the transition throughout his life, getting married and having a beautiful son, Strand. And
in this podcast, you'll get to see the inside, kind of never before seen aspects of the business side of rodeo. Kind of behind the curtain a little bit. He pulls it back. He's the director of calf roping. He's been in the industry 15 to actually more like 20 years. So you'll be able to see behind the curtains. I think y'all love this podcast. Thanks for the support. Let's get into the podcast.
In the bus, Cole caught a flight. Shane was kind enough to meet us over here, and man, let's get to talking.
Yeah, man, I've been excited. Long time listener.
Bucket list guest. This is part 2 of the Shane Hanchey series. Okay, part 1 was your career, all your accomplishments, and all this stuff, and that's not all about Shane Hanchey. You have a whole life outside of just your in the arena accomplishments. Who are you outside of the arena?
Yeah, man, it's interesting. I mean, like my whole life, I wanted to rodeo when I decided I want to be a calf roper, looking up to the guys I looked up to. And I just thought, man, when I'm done, I want to have something. I want to have something to fall back on. Not necessarily like education wise, because I went to a 2-year college, but I've always had kind of a business type mindset. My wife will say I have a lot of ideas. I never really pull through with them, but I do feel like I pull through with some of them. But yeah, on the side, I just started mainly with like roping lessons and stuff and thought, man, that's a pretty good way to make some money. And then it kind of turned into the Shane Hanchey Invitational Junior Opens, which the Shane Hanchey Invitational has been a big open that I've had since my freshman year in high school. And although we don't make any money really, I've always wanted it to be an awesome roping for the top guys to come to.
You talked about your wife saying that you have a lot of ideas and you might not pull through. Does that kind of play a big part in how successful you are outside of the arena too? The wife that you picked, or
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was in Louisiana, all I did was sleep and rope, and I dreamed about it. And when I wasn't roping, that's all I thought what we had to do. Then I got with her and got married and moved to Carmine. And man, my in-laws, my brother-in-law, either one of them, they don't slow down. It's, you've been there.
They're working suckers.
You know all about it. And so I thought, man, when I first got there, I'm like, man, all I really know to do is to kind of sleep in and get ready for the rodeo, and I knew quickly if I was going to hang around that place that things had to change. And so that's honestly kind of where the Bows Bowling Go came in. I started it in 2019, and I just knew being from Louisiana, I love the people and I love the food, and I wasn't there anymore, but I wanted to figure out a way to bring the food to Carmine or to Giddings, in between Houston and Austin, there's not much crawfish or Cajun food. It's more of a delicacy around there, and I thought, man, let's see if we can get this going. And sure enough, I made one phone call to some family friends, the Broussards, Taylor Broussard. He's a bareback rider out here. I'm good buddies with his older brother, Trey, and he rodeoed a lot. And anyways, they're in the crawfish business, and that's how I got started. And we went over there for a little tutorial day, and they got me going. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do it. They have a lot of contracts for crawfish around the Houston area, so I just meet them, most of the time in Hempstead, which is like 45 minutes from my house, get all I need, and sell it on the weekend.
Shane Hanchey has a crawfish business, and it's Was it 4?
We know something about that mobile. He's mobile.
You're mobile, and it's seasonal too. Are you operational like 4 months?
Yeah. So it's seasonal. So it kind of works out perfect, honestly. Being in that trailer, I can't really like wash my own crawfish. Like Rowdy and them, they have a whole outfit over there, like a brick and mortar, and they wash their own crawfish, and they start a little earlier than I do. But for me, I kind of have to wait till it warms up a little bit in the spring. So I generally get going like middle to end of February, early March, where them crawfish are good size enough to be able to take the traveling. And then, yeah, we bang it out till right before we leave for summer, man. And it's I got a great crew, man.
How was your year this year?
Man, it was great. We last year was so, but like I told my wife, like it's that business is a lot like this one. Like you get in what you put out, and I said, let's just buckle down, and the weeks we're home or the weekends we're home, let's sell some crawfish. And man, it was awesome. I've gotten to where I'm having to turn people down now, and I don't like it. Like the Weatherford Rodeo called me, Mount Pleasant Rodeo called me. Like these guys are wanting us to come set up during their rodeo and sell crawfish, and I'm like, man, I really wish I could, but for right now, I'm still making a living with my rope, so I have to kind of put that as a top priority, right? And so, but other than that, I've got a few big catering deals that are great. And we go to Teskey's every year in Weatherford, and that's awesome, man. The whole crew at Teskey's is, man, they're so cool to deal with. So it's been awesome.
Wow. A good week rodeo, and what does a guy make? 5 to 10?
What do you say? I mean,
it just depends on the year. Like in the summer, yeah, I think me and Ty, we're kind of going to be upset if we don't win 5,000 a week.
Mm-hmm. So 5 to 10 a week rodeoing. What are the?
Hey, it's a lot easier making your living with a rope. I'll tell you right now.
Oh, it's easier. That's what you saw.
Dang right.
What's that?
You're damn right. Like? I mean, there's a lot of times like over there at Teskey's, we're swamped, man. We're selling 30 sacks a day, and that's almost 1,000 pounds of crawfish. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, it is so much manual labor. I mean, the easiest part of the whole deal is putting the crawfish in the pot and boiling them, and it's also the funnest part. But man, leading up to it, as far as making sure you have enough potatoes and corn and sausage and shrimp, and making sure your food trailer's ready to go and cleaned out and your coolers are ready, like all that stuff, there's so much time that goes into that people don't realize that, man, it's right now, I'm like, I have a good day in the food trailer and we sell, our total sales will be, almost 5,000. I'm like, it's way easier to be about 7.5 and win that.
Yeah. I mean, I had Luke Landry at the house for 2 months, and I put on 10 pounds. Rice and gravy every day.
A lot of rice, man. A lot of rice and gravy.
What other businesses do you have outside of the arena?
Obviously, I mean, outside the arena, we have a great little young horse list line up for the fraternities, and something that me and Taylor prided ourselves on is raising these horses, and now we have a 4-year-old that's out of my great mare Pam that Taylor's rode at 2 national finals breakaway opens, and like I said in the interview earlier, she's helped me get to a couple NFRs. She's helped Ren Richard. Ren Richard won Ellensburg the very next day, set the arena record at Lewiston on her. Helped him get a back number. So she's. Have you ever rode her?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One of the best fields I ever had at Kissimmee when I couldn't tie the calf to be about 7'2" to win it.
And slide.
You let me ride her at Greeley. Yeah, she felt amazing.
Yeah, no, and just one of those horses that timing wise and attitude wise was so great. She just inside, like in the building, she didn't really love it, so she kind of got exiled the NFR lineup. But so we've got a couple babies out of her, and this first foal crop that's old enough to compete is this year 4-year-olds, and we've won over 120,000 on one of her babies already at the fraternities. And so it's really cool to kind of train a horse and let other people win and you win on them. But when you raise the horse, like from watching its first steps to sending it off to get broke, to my uncle riding it as a 3-year-old, and then back to me the fall of his 3-year-old year to starting him roping calves, and then to see what we won at the RFA on him. And man, it's a feeling like you can't even explain as for me, because, going back to it, my brother trains calf horses. My uncle, who's had a huge influence on me and my brother's rodeo and roping careers, he's trained horses his whole life. He rides cutters now. But so I always told myself, just kind of rewinding, that when I was a kid, in order for me to rope, I'd have to go over there and help my brother and my uncle work horses, right? And I remember me and my two cousins, we would be working the chute till 10 o'clock, literally, at night. Just my brother would have 20 or so outside horses. My uncle would have some horses. And by the time we got to rope, I was so tired and like didn't care to rope, honestly, because the calves were so wore out from that day. Didn't want to get brought back up. So let's stop it when you rope them. And I remember telling myself vividly, I'm like, I'm not making a living doing this. I cannot be a horse trainer. This is miserable. And I mean, hindsight, 20 years later, I got freaking 12 horses I'm riding every day.
I was shocked to come over there and see, the first time, because when I started hanging out with you, you didn't have all the young horses.
Just our practice horses.
You'd have a couple practice horses, some good horses, and maybe one young one you'd ride and doing some lessons. Next, about fast forward year and a half, 2 years, riding horses from sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
So what was that transition, and how much work goes into that?
Yeah, I mean, it's nonstop work, really. I mean, the young horses just take so much time because the patience is so key on them things. I mean, I feel like, the breeding now, that the way that the performance horse world is headed for the rope horse industry. After looking at conformation, you can pretty much look at some papers and tell if I want to mess with one or not, Yeah. And just because of the ones I've rode leading up to now and how I like them, how I don't like them, what I like of their tendencies, stuff like that. And so I pretty much know, if one's going to be good the first, 60 days that I'm on them. And it just turns into, like Ty said, like a job. And so, it's a great thing, but it's also not a good thing for me rodeoing, because there's too many times that I would send videos out or something and they'd go, man, you're in horse training mode. And man, I think, honestly, the reason I'm able to win what I am in the summer is because I'm not going home in between building rodeos and working young horses. I'm not going home and pin roping or roping the sled. I'm staying out here on my good horses, getting rodeo runs every day,
AKA, when it's time to keep the main thing, and like, okay, this is not the main thing. Training horses ain't the main thing in the summer. It's about making NFR. That's the priority.
For sure. Honestly, it's not the main thing even when it ain't the summer. I just have to prioritize it a little bit more when these fraternities are coming and as much money as you can win. But I honestly, I went out. Ty's seen my old practice horse, Corn. I think he's the best practice horse of all time. You could run 30 on him. He'd be the same every time, but he got too old and not fast enough. So I went out, bought a practice horse this spring and this winter. And I think that's what helped my roping just as much as anything from Houston till now, was I was able to get a practice horse. And after I did work all our horses, I'd get on her and run 5 or 10 a day and try to get back into rodeo mode.
You are a 15-time NFL qualifier. It's almost like an advantage because, man, that's Shane Hanchey. Man, I want to buy a horse from Hanchey if he's selling something. Do you have an unfair advantage? Like, is it primarily connections? And if it's not primarily connections, how can a person who doesn't have the resume you have succeed in the business?
Well, it's funny you said that. My other part business that I have is I'm part owner in Gold Buckle fraternities, and we have our own fraternities that we put on, and that's our main goal, dude. Right there, what you said is how can we get the up and coming trainers or the non-pros, the limited guys, how can we get money in their pocket? Because let's be honest, them guys, they're not beating Cody McCartney, they're not beating Haven Medjed, you know what I'm saying, at the fraternities. So we've stepped up our intermediate game so much and our limited non-pro game so much that it is a lot easier for them to be able to win at our fraternities. And we put, some restrictions on the intermediate classes, as far as money won from the year before, can't make the NFR the last 5 years, can't be in the top 50 from the year before. So we've made it to where it's easier for you to be in the intermediate and you not have to necessarily bump heads against the Cody McCartneys, the Haven Medges, the Clay Churneys, them guys like that. So, on that side of things, I think there's going to be a way for us to keep building our fraternity program to get these up and coming trainers or these younger trainers, ways to make money. And then in turn, that just helps our business as far as they're going to get more horses, more clients. And then that just helps all the way around, But for me, as far as selling horses, I'm not really riding many for the public right now. I'm kind of training everything that we own and that we raised. And it would take crazy money to buy them, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're not for sale neither.
You're going to get an offer after this podcast.
I'll give y'all some commission.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break from the podcast to tell you about our presenting sponsor, Boot Barn.
Hey, Cole, you headed to Pinoca in a couple weeks. Where are you going to go first?
Before I cross that border, we got to stop at Boot Barn, baby.
Boot Barn sponsors over 600 rodeos across the country. If you're a Let's Freakin' Rodeo fan and you're listening to this podcast, you probably should be a Boot Barn fan. I'm just telling you. They got 450 locations across the country from coast to coast.
They are supporting this podcast. They're supporting the rodeo industry. We support those people who support us, and that's Boot Barn.
I'm just telling you, you need some boots, some jeans, maybe a belt, shades, hat, cap, shirt, long sleeve, short sleeve. I don't care what kind of style you are. Cole, me, or anything in between. Go to Boot Barn or visit bootbarn.com online and get what you need. They got you covered from head to toe.
Thanks, Boot Barn, for sponsoring this podcast. As always, let's get back to it. All right, guys, another weekly segment coming at y'all of Rodeo for Dummies presented by Shady Rays. Our friends over at Shady Rays have you covered for all your premium polarized shades needs. If you need some nice shades, Shady Rays is the place to go.
Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized sunglasses that won't break the bank.
Shady Rays is a proudly independent sunglasses company that can rival even the most expensive brands.
It ain't always you get what you pay for, because with Shady Rays, they can rival anybody.
Affordable.
Double frames. Crystal clear optics, bro. And they're affordable. But if yours go MIA or they break, their lost and broken protection plan will take care of you for up to 30 days.
Exclusively for Let's Freakin' Rodeo listeners, you can use code LFR35 for 35% off at shadyrays.com.
You can join over 300,000 customers to leave a 5-star review.
Thanks, Shady Rays, for sponsoring Rodeo for Dummies. Let's get into it.
We thought a great question for you to explain is, what is a futurity?
So the rope horse futurity world, man, it's modeled mostly after the cutting horse and the cow horse, and all of them are performance horses. And our deal is, I think, obviously I'm partial. It's the best in the game, and I'd like for people to prove me wrong. But we just have we try to have a model to where everybody can win some money. And so the definition of a futurity would be a horse show, pretty much. You have to have your horse registered. They have to be of age. We have 2 different age groups, 6 and under and 4 and under. It's timed and judged, right? So we have 4 judges that are watching every move from when they cross the plane of the box, sitting in the box, scoring, running, rating, stopping, pulling, till you get back on your horse, right? And they're judging them. We got a scorecard, in-depth scorecard. You start at 0 to +3 is great, -3 is terrible. And you start at a base score, and then your time is also started at that base score, and it's subtracted from whatever you put on that day for that round, right? So if you go and you're 10 flat, well, we start at 80 for the time, so your time portion of the score is going to be a 70, and then say your judges mark you a 72, so you add them 3 up, and that's how you get the composite score. So with 4 judges, though, this is what's interesting. We drop the high and drop the low. Okay. And then, so the 2 scores in between are the 2 we use for that particular round. Right.
Wow.
So it's so much stuff. I mean, it's crazy, man.
And okay, first thing,
Cole's told his wheels are turning right here.
No, that's fine.
You're saying what they're judging. What are they looking for in the run?
So maneuvers is what they're looking for. They're looking for scoring, which is backing in the box, paying attention to the calf, not moving. Okay, then they're looking for running rate. That's running to the calf, not getting too free, not being too tight, reading the calf perfect. We're looking for stop, like how smooth is a stop? How easy is it for that guy to transition to get off with the stop? Mm. And then the rope work, pulling, throwing your hands up. And so like our main goal at the Gold Buckle Fraternities, the showy stuff as far as like roping, like running in there, sliding, pitching your slack, that's cool, right? But that's not going to win at Nampa, okay? That's not going to win at Sisters. We want our model to be for rodeo horses, and that goes from the team roping to the calf roping to the breakaway. Like when we watch a breakaway horse, we want to see, can that horse go get rodeoed on?
Yeah.
And if he can, that's our goal. And now we have horses like River that was in that gold buckle first fraternity as a 4-year-old. He got rodeoed on all his 5-year-old year. And I mean, Ty won on him, Williams Lake. We all kind of won on him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the standard. That's what we want. We want these horses to be able to go from our fraternities to the rodeo world and not miss a beat.
What a horse comes in, does great at the futurity, gold buckle futurities. How much does that increase the value of the horse after?
Oh, I personally, astronomically, because now with the roping world, they're tracking LTE, they're tracking lifetime earnings. I mean, just like I said on my 4-year-old, we've already won $130,000 on him as a 4-year-old since March. I mean, what's the value of him? I mean, it's like really what it's like is like you're going to get a free agent that's a young free agent, but you're not buying him for what he's already accomplished. You're paying for that contract to see what's his ceiling, right? You know what I mean? Like that's where it's at, man. It's like I'm one to spend crazy money on a horse. Ty is too. We don't look at that like, oh man, we're losing that. What can we win on that horse?
Yeah, investment.
Investment. And that's what the Gold Buckle Fraternities is doing, is making those horses worth more, but also you're able to win more. And the biggest key to me is you're seasoning that horse while you're winning $120,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these futurities pay so much money too.
Exactly.
Well, it opens up. So you guys, the gold buckle futurities and where it's headed in the calf roping world, in my opinion, I'm not a horse trainer by no means, but it gives so much more incentive to somebody going to make a living training horses, because they're not just banking on that horse selling for good money as 8 or 9-year-old horse or years later down the road. They can win money, like he's saying. You can win money throughout the process of training them and seasoning them. You're not just going and throwing money in the trash. You can make money, and it's obviously increasing the price of horses as well.
For sure. I mean, this thing has just done nothing but skyrocket the price of horses, and even for the trainers, like you said, it's just helping. It's just great all the way around.
Back to your model, you said it's categorized between 4 and 6-year-olds. I mean, how are you determining horse ages?
So that's a great question. So in the AQHA, every horse that has papers, they turn a year older January 1st of that year, right? So even though my horse was born in April, in January, he's a year older. I mean, it's not, that's just how the AQHA is done forever. And so your 4-year-old horses, they have to be 4 as of January 1st of that year. And then the 6 and under, what's interesting about the 6 and under is, they obviously have to be 6, but you see a lot of 5-year-olds, and you even see some 4-year-olds double dipping. And that just goes to show you how awesome it is that you can have a 4-year-old that can handle that, And then, so with our limited classes, which is separate classes from our 4 and 6-year-old, they can be any age horse, as long as they're registered. And that's just trying to get the young kids to come and check out the fraternities. Cause my deal is like the younger kids, the older guys, like, the young kids, I mean, not all of them might not make it rodeoing, And so what a great way to show, hey, there's still a good way to make money in this roping industry if you have a good feel with a horse and you ride a horse good, and hoping that gets some kids coming to our fraternities.
Exactly. I mean, 15 guys make the NFR every year. Talking about athleticism and all the things that goes into it. Not everybody's going to be an NFR roper. You're saying that they can make a good living doing something they love. If they love horses and calf roping, that give them an opportunity to make a really good living doing it.
That's the end of the Rodeo for Dummies segment. Let's get back to the podcast. Rodeo guys going up and down the road. We asked Neil and Sean Felton this a few weeks back. I think Ty's we're dipping into it with the podcast, but making business, making money and other things other than just with your rope. I asked Neil and Sean Felton, they're like, man, we were just gambling. That's the only thing we could make extra money doing. What opportunities are there for rodeo guys to make extra money in the sport or outside of the sport?
The easiest answer for me is hustle, man. Like that's all I really knew to do. Like, whether it's outside the sport, like outside the arena, whether it's like putting on ropings. I mean, you got calves sitting around your house, like have a Tuesday night 2 for $100, $35 stock charge, take that out each calf. We did that this spring. We had some ropings at Snook, and mainly for our benefit to bring our young horses somewhere else with a barrier up to help them. And in turn, all the other horse trainers around, the other rodeo kids, they came and entered too for somewhere to go, But as far as like outside the sport, I mean, to me, my biggest deal is just hustle, just find a way, find a niche, to make some money. And whether it's picking up trash or picking up aluminum cans to recycle to bring. I remember when I was a kid, that's all I used to do is bring aluminum cans to the recycle bin and get paid for it, and that would be entry fee money for the Little Britches Rodeo. And so, but I mean, just anyway, I'm just so big on, and Ty knows, like, don't sit around, man. Like, get up, get out. Let's make some money.
I've seen kind of a transition. I've always looked up to you. I've seen a transition in you, and you told me word for word, roping's what I do. It's not who I am. So kind of talk me through that process and how you've grown in that way. And then obviously how it's made you so successful outside of the arena.
Yeah, man. I, for the longest time, this was all I thought about, man. I mean, honestly, it's like a drug. I mean, I've never done any of that kind of stuff, but rodeo and being so enamored with making the NFR, winning a gold buckle, and being relevant, I thought, like, man, that's all I need. That's all I want. I'm never going to get old. I'm always going to make them. Like, and then, honestly, I think it really hit me, in 2022. Man, I had just bought Bugsy, and I went to the NFR and just had another one of those weeks where I was like, didn't nearly get to the goals I wanted to get to, and was just kind of feeling like, man, I'm not sure what's in store for me, and then I got to kind of figuring, deep diving, talking to some people, reading some stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is just temporary. I'm not going to be this guy forever as far as roping and winning. And so that's really when I transitioned everything to, like, this is what I do, not who I am. Like, don't get me wrong, I am so grateful for what I've accomplished. And I think looking back on it when it's all said and done, I'll be excited. But, like, right now, just one step at a time, one day at a time, just trying to keep my head down and really, like, enjoying the moment, but not also letting it get to me. Mary Burke told me a long time ago, he said, don't let your highs get too high, your lows too low. And I've tried to model myself after that for a while. And, yeah, I got to a point in my life where I was like, I still have a lot of successful years of rodeoing ahead of me if that's what I want to do. And obviously that's what I'm doing, but I just tried to take it to where it wasn't like such a big deal every time I didn't do good or got to the finals and didn't win what I wanted to win. So, that's kind of where it all was. And the trials and tribulations before all that just kind of showed to the fact that, it's just temporary. I mean, it's not forever.
And he said, he's like, I don't want to be one of those guys that gets done rodeoing and don't have nothing. And so that's why you've kind of gotten into all the
other stuff on the side. I mean, yeah, that's one thing that got in my head was I'm not going to be done rodeoing, making the NFR X amount of times and not have nothing to show for it. Like, when I'm not rodeoing, I want to make sure I'm making money, in during them June, July, August, September months when I'm not out here and still making a good living for my family.
It sounds, I don't know, what is there any, like, religious aspect to that? Because it seems like the way you're talking is like a very God-oriented thought process.
100%. I mean, that's what I was, so after 2022 NFR, I was like, man, I got to figure something out. And so what did Bible app on my phone, started some plans, getting them streaks going. And next thing you know, I'm like, man, there's a weight that is lifted off my shoulders. What is going on? And honestly, it was him. I mean, like, turn your worries to him. Don't worry. Turn it all to him and everything will be fine,
It's funny. I was at, Coleman, Texas the other night filming, the rodeo with Resistol, and I ran into Jacobs Crawley, and I had never met him before, but I just said, hey, what's up? I'm Cole, yada, yada. And he was preaching a message a long time ago that I came across, and he said the same thing. He goes, this is all temporary. But do you think you have to come to that, like, at the end of your career, or do you think you can have that early on?
No, I think you can certainly come to it early on. I think more guys probably do. I think for so long, honestly, like, all I was told from 2009 till 2015 15 was how great I was, and patted me on the back and this and that, and thought I was invincible. I mean, straight up, like, I'm gonna make them every year. Like, I ain't worried about it. And it just took me a little bit longer, I would say, than most people to realize, like, hey, nobody cares. Like, there's only one thing that matters, and that's, the Lord and Savior. And like, to me, like, I'm not one of those guys that's going to go around and be like, praise God, God bless, like, I'm so blessed, like this and that. Like, I've got my relationship with him, and I'm proud of it, and we're getting closer every day. And so, like, it just took me a while to realize that at the end of the day, roping is what I do, and it's not who I am.
I was talking to Cole, and me and him kind of feel like we copycatted a little bit, because the Cowboy Journal was way before our time.
That's true.
And was extremely viral in the rodeo world, and was very, I don't even know what the word is, but it was
revolutionary.
It was revolutionary for
trend setting in a way, yeah.
For the media side of the rodeo world. So kind of tell us about how that happened, and then the process of that.
Yeah, so I remember one night after the NFR, golly, I'm bad with dates. It might have been 2016. It was right when the Players Tribune had just kind of kicked off, and Derek Jeter kind of started that. And I remember one specific article, man. It was Richard Sherman, and he talked about how NFL players hated Thursday night football. And so I clicked on it, and I'm like, the first thing was like, you have no idea what we go through. And I'm like, really? We don't have no idea that you're getting paid $40 million a year to play defensive back. But anyways, I read it. And so
I read it.
And so he was talking about how their bodies, after a game on Sunday, to Monday, Tuesday, recovering wise Wednesday, finally get back on the practice field Wednesday, Thursday kind of better, Friday walk through, Saturday travel, Sunday game. How all that kind of fast forwarded for a Thursday night game. And like, when these guys would get on the field on Thursday night, they would just still be beat to shit and sore. And I mean, like, could barely move, Obviously, they'd probably be on medicine and other stuff like pain meds and stuff. But it just clicked for some reason. I was like, man, if people knew what we go through to do what we do, to not even get on a plane to fly to a stadium and get paid with a salary and have a contract and all that, to swipe our own card at the fuel tank, drive our own self to the rodeo, take care of our own horses. Like, I'm like, people need to know this. Like, people have to figure out that because at the time, there was no Cowboy Channel at that time, right? And the only time to see us on TV was 10 nights out of the year at the NFR. And so when them 10 nights would come on, people would be like,
they think we're living the life.
These guys, man, they go to Vegas for 10 nights out of the year. They're running at 20,000 a night. Like, that's, man, what a deal. And I'm like, man,
what a deal.
So anyways, like Taylor says, my brain got to going with ideas, and I'm like, how do I get this going? And so I honestly modeled it after Players Tribune. They have a ghostwriter that talks into their voice, whoever's doing the story. And I thought, man, that's cool. That's really cool. And so got in touch with a photographer for some pictures, talked to a writer. And man, this writer was similar to you in a way. Never really been around rodeo, was from Virginia. And I'm like, do you think you can do this? And he's like, yeah. And so there we went. We were off and running. And I remember he interviewed Bob Tallman at the Calgary Stampede. We sat in his bus and talked to him about it for a story and just stuff like that, and then.
So you would do it that way. You're interviewing people like this,
yeah,
but with a recorder, and then he's going back and.
Yep. He's going back, so he's recording everything.
Wow.
Mostly, all of it was mostly over the phone, right? Because he couldn't get to him. But yeah, he would record it, and then what was great about Logan was he could tell the way your voice sounded, like how you talked and your mannerisms and stuff, how to put that to paper to make it seem like you're writing this article, right? And so it got huge. It got way bigger than I ever thought. Kind of had to expand to get a little bit bigger team. And, at the end of the day, when we closed it down, I just couldn't, monetarily, like I just didn't have the money to keep it going because obviously I had to pay Logan, I had to pay, you know, everybody to keep it going, and I just couldn't get the sponsors or anything. But and I hated, like, my one thing was like we had sponsored stories, and a lot of them were sponsored by my sponsors though, like by Cinch and by, and I just hated to keep going back to them, be like, hey, you want to sponsor another story? Like, they're already doing so much for me as Shane Hanchey, their calf roper. I just, even to this day, like even for my junior opens and my bigger open, like I hate going to my sponsors to get money, but luckily for me, they've been great and awesome, and they hardly turn me down. But it was just something that we got to a point where we had talked about the podcast thing and like what y'all are doing pretty much, and we're like, man, that would be cool. But you know, never really came into realization. But me and my buddy Will, you know, who's been following around, we've been talking about maybe firing up the Cowboy Journal, just not like this because you guys got it taken over, but like as far as a media platform, you know, to maybe help some Cowboys with social media and stuff like that. But we don't know yet.
That's awesome. Will Stout, he's kind of a dog.
He's nice, bro.
A little free shout out for the man.
In a lot of ways. Will, I'll tell you, I admire you in a lot of ways, bro. But yeah, no, that's
I admire he loves life, boy. He just he's happy to be wherever he's at.
So the Cowboy Journal, what was the first, do you remember the first story you ever did?
Golly, dude, I got a bad memory. The first story
First one that comes to mind, maybe.
Man, the first one that comes to mind to me is Joey Saunier.
Me too.
Making the NFR and the bronc riding that year. The trials and tribulations that he led up to. And that's something that I did, that I took pride in, was like Ty I found these stories because I knew these people. You know what I mean? Like I knew Joey Saunier's story. He's from Louisiana. I knew what he went through and how he got to the NFR. And I was like, that's gold right there. We're getting him. And it went viral, man. It went viral. Changed people's lives. I mean, it was awesome. You know, we did some stories.
Oh, Joey was the first one that came to my mind.
Joey was the first one that come to my mind. But we did so many great stories. Our social media is still up and going, like our Facebook, and my articles are still live. Like I get down there, like going when I'm on the road, I'll scroll down there and find out like the great stories and see how many shares and comments. And it's like, man, what we did was pretty cool.
No doubt. So you're talking about pre-Cowboy Channel. You started the Cowboy Journal. Obviously, rodeo's growing at a rapid pace. I think Cowboy Channel, in my opinion, has had a big part to do with that. I mean, where you got Shane Hanchey Jr. opens, you got Gold Buckle Futurities. You're growing the calf roping and the whole Western way of life, really. What is your thoughts on the rodeo, where it's headed, and also what Cowboy Channel's done for rodeo?
My thoughts on the rodeo, where it's headed. I wish I was 25, not 35. I mean, it's crazy, man. The money. I mean, just to be able to see what rodeos are adding nowadays, and like you said, it's all in part to the Cowboy Channel. And if it wasn't for them, it would still be staying where it was 10 years ago. But like, it's crazy, man, that you can, I mean, just as an athlete standpoint, like me and you talking the other day at Eagle, like, man, my calf didn't go in slack that morning. He went from the first perf. Okay, well, let's pull it up on the Cowboy Channel and watch my calf. Like, that's unheard of. If you had told me that we could have done that in 2010, now, I'd have said, you're crazy, man. Yep. There's no way. And so just on the athlete standpoint, but like my parents, like who are older obviously now and can't get around, can't get to the rodeos. And just like a lot of older people, their TVs don't go away from the Cowboy Channel. I mean, my parents watch the Astros every night, but after that, they're going to watch the Cowboy Channel. You know what I mean? And so that's just how people are, and what it's done for us and our sponsors, or what it should do for our sponsors, I should say, is crazy how it's changed.
No doubt. This is, if you don't have the answer to this, it's fine, but is there like a number that you have to that, like before the Cowboy Channel and then after the Cowboy Channel, it's like 40 to 50% growth? Or like,
are we talking attendance at the rodeos?
I know, and that's
money for the athletes.
I want to get into attendance because you can you go to some rodeos and they're still like, man, they still look small. You can't really tell how much it's grown with. And you go to Vegas and you're like, dude, they're getting, it's 10% increase every year or whatever it is. In the you know,
the attendance wise, like at first the committees, I think were like, man, it's great that our rodeo's on TV, but that's not going to get, you know, Joe Blow from the house to fight at my rodeo next year. But I think it does. I think when people watch Pendleton and watch rodeos like that, they're like, man, we're going there. Like, and they book a trip, you know what I mean? So I do think it's helped attendance, you know. The small rodeos, yeah, I mean, I think it's more, the smaller rodeos is more like a generational thing to me. Like, and I say small rodeos, I mean like a smaller town. Like when you go to, I mean, I'll just say, for instance, like Hermiston, it's a great rodeo for us, but like, I think that's more of a like, my great grandpa was going there. My grandpa was, went there to the fair and rodeo, and like, it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
Like we go on Friday night every year. I don't care if Ty's roping or I'm roping or you're roping, Cole. Like, we're going to go watch. That's what we've done every year for years, And so I think that's what's really cool about the rodeo world,
My conclusion, what you just said, the big ones, Pendleton, all the Cheyenne, boom, rise in attendance. Smaller to mid-level, maybe not so much. But rodeo, the money for the Cowboys has like shot through the roof.
Oh man, that's something we could talk about an hour for.
I mean, you could talk about that forever. 2019, we're going to rodeos that are adding 5,000, 7,500 all the time. Now, Matt Reeves just said the other day there's 88 rodeos that add 10,000 or more.
Oh,
we
yeah.
only get to go to 80. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Wow.
And inflation hasn't changed that much in those years. I mean, that's straight added money from the rodeos, whether they're doing better from sponsors, Cowboy, whatever it is, it's been a lot better for the athlete.
And across the board for the Cowboys getting better. So I'm like, either the sponsors are paying more or the attendance is growing or something. Like, where is it coming from?
Or the rodeos got more money than what they led you on to believe.
Yeah.
It's funny to me how all of a sudden these rodeos are adding some freaking money, dude.
Yep.
Like, how many times did I go to Canby and it added 7,500 and now it's adding 18,000?
Yep.
Moses Lake, Washington, 18,000. Like,
Yep.
I mean, Eagle, Idaho adding 10,000 there. And me and Ty talk about rodeoing all the time because we're similar in how our brain works as far as getting to them and stuff. But we'll be driving by rodeos that are going to add 7,500. You know what I mean? To go to bigger ones to have better chances to win.
And when you started rodeoing, you were probably driving 10 hours to go to one that added 7,500.
Oh, all day. Me and Tuff would be in this bus driving for 3 days to get to one that added 7,500.
Yeah, all these things that you've done to grow the sport. This might not be growing the sport, but for us as calf ropers, it's definitely making it better having Shane Hanchey as our director of calf roping. Tell us about that job and what goes into it and maybe how difficult it might be at times.
Yeah, so being the event rep for the PRCA, the last 4 years maybe, I can't remember when I took over.
You started, didn't you start in 21?
I think so.
Because we talked about it, COVID year in Mesquite in 2020. I remember that.
Yeah, I think I took over in 2021, April of 2021, and I've been in that position ever since. But I mean, for me, like, I just felt like we needed somebody, like I say, in the trenches, like somebody out here rodeoing, going to them, seeing the calves, seeing, like all the aspects of what it takes to make calf roping great. And I just felt like if nobody was going to do it, I would do it, And I was to the point in my career where I had made them a lot and kind of was like, man, I feel like I somewhat have it figured out during the summer. And so, yeah, I tried it out, and a lot of guys said, man, you don't want to make the NFR again because it's kind of like the Madden cover curse, right? Like, so
Madden cover curse.
The guys that took over as being the director for the last, I don't even know, 3 or 4 different directors never ended up making the finals because of, how stressful and all that, how much work it was.
Oh.
But I didn't really I never when I got it, I wasn't like, oh man, I hope I make the NFR. I was like, man, that's just another side gig along with Bo's Bowl and Go, along with the Cowboy Journal at the time, along with, the horse deal. Like, I can wear that hat too.
I have to commend you though, because monetarily it doesn't make sense. You do it to make the sport better. I don't care what anybody says.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the money I get paid, it ain't worth it. Not even the first month. I mean, it's ridiculous what I have to go through. And I have, being in it for 4 years now, I have developed a good system. I have a lot of great circuit appointees, and that's something new that I did this year. Was I asked Steve Knowles, do you mind if I get some help? And so what I did was every circuit, I got an appointee, and any rodeo that had 7,500 or less that is not a tool rodeo, it's in their hands. As far as they want to shorten the barrier, if they want to get some calves tied, if, stuff like that. And it all still goes through me to the director of rodeo admin, but I don't have to worry about Goshen, Connecticut.
Mhm.
I don't have to worry about, Gary, New York, or, Waconia, Minnesota, like rodeos that, with all due respect, I'm never going to go to. I don't know if it's 180 feet long and it needs to be 3 foot under.
Well, and you just said it. The director needs to be somebody that's in the trenches. You haven't been in the trenches of Goshen, Connecticut, or these rodeos, so you wouldn't even have the knowledge to be able to do your job. So, anyways, that's an interesting way why you think you're such a good director, because you're down here in it.
Well, yeah, and so I mean, honestly, like I'm the director, I'm the event rep for all our calf ropers, right? So that's one thing that I've had to tell myself is like, I'm just as much in charge of Ty Harris as I am, that permit kid down there in Florida. Like, I mean, and I take pride in that, because what I want to do is I want to make it better for everybody. And so, but unfortunately, I mean, it gravitates me. I have to pay attention to the big rodeos and to get them, because of where money is and where it's going and where the cameras are. Like, I mean, small rodeos are great and I want them to be good. But when we got, live TV going on in San Angelo, Texas, we got to make sure the calves are good.
Mm-hmm.
We got to make sure they're prepped. We got to make sure these guys are tying them fast. Hopefully it's me every now and then. But if not, I got to make sure we're putting out a good product out there, because it falls on me.
There's 600 rodeos that are PRCA sanctioned across the country.
Can I ask a simple question? Maybe too simple, but what would you say the job description is of the director?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because too many times I have to tell people that I can't change their slack. I can't change a stock contractor. I can't tell a stock contractor to go use this guy's calves. I can say, hey, in my opinion, you should probably go try to get him or try to get them, but I can't do that. So really, what I'm in charge of is approvals, as far as like making them 1 or 2 head or going by the rule book as far as that. And I do a lot of the approvals now, just the small rodeos, kind of going in depth. Like, if you don't add equal money, you ain't getting a favor out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. Like,
and
you don't.
And he means equal money by every event adding the same amount of money, not rough stock being double.
Yeah, not rough stock being double, not adding.
How common is that?
Pretty common. You'd be shocked.
And it used to be way more too.
It used to be way more. But now, if you want to be a tour rodeo, you got to add equal money, stuff like that. So,
wow.
But for the small rodeos, I mean, they want to add $5,000 in the rough stock and $2,500 at the timed event, and then say they have 4 perfs, which is by the rule book a 2 head. They want to ask for a 1 header, and I'm like, no, you're not getting a favor for me if you're adding double in the rough stock.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I mean, they want to get the best guys there, and they have a lot of turnouts in the rough stock and stuff like that. But we got a lot of overhead, man. Like
truck, trailer, horses.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of overhead. So what I'm saying is, like, for the job description, like, so I make the calls on that, the approvals. I make the calls on the barrier. Like, if the rule book says 2 foot under at all outdoor arenas, if there's some places we think we need to shorten the barrier, it goes through me. Tie times, setting up all the tie times, all the stuff like that. And then I'd say the worst part is the aftermath, of runs, hey man, my calf fell down, I didn't pull up, but I should have got another one. I get them calls, or hey man, I got fined for a jerk down. I shouldn't have got it. I'm gonna send you my video, or next thing you know, hey, I got 4 guys calling me, hey man, them calves over there in the first frontier circuit, they weren't near as good as that guy said, and they need fined for underweight. Like, it's just nonstop. Like,
so how do you deal with those?
Well, what's funny is that we get $60 a month for our cell phone bill, right? Part of the allotment.
So you turn it off
for being the director, and I'm like, so well, the first thing I said after I got the job for about a year was like, $60 a month is what I get to get paid for being on my phone. Like, well, let's just prepay me a phone for $60 worth of minutes, and when it goes out, then they got to answer to y'all, because my phone rings nonstop. I mean, that's what people that are with me nonstop. I mean, text and calling, and I don't mind it. But now that I got a kid and I got a wife, I've pretty much went like straight like Home Depot hours, like Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you're calling, I'm not roping or practicing, I'll answer. Anytime after that, man, I'm getting back to you Monday. Like, unless it's urgent, and you have some stuff that's catastrophic, but we'll handle it. But man, it's just, it's a lot of work. And then on top of that is setting your pin for the NFR, you know, getting your stock contractor, getting your calves, talking with the NFR commissioner, making sure everything's good with that. I mean, it's a lot of work for sure. But like Ty said, I want to leave this sport better than when I came in. And if it takes me being the director till I'm done, then that's what it takes.
Well, thank you for listening.
Hold on. Oh, we're not done yet. I got a few more questions.
You do?
I got a few more questions.
I'm down. I got nothing but time.
No, we're great.
We're right. I got a few more questions.
I'm so excited to talk about world championship.
Yeah.
I know. We're gonna get to it. You being the director, you have had an inside. You have now built relationships that not the average cowboy has. What is the biggest thing you've learned from being the director about just the sport in general?
Dude,
Ooh, that's good.
That's a great question because I'm the most hot-headed son of a gun you've ever seen. When a calf kicks or I don't win. And when I was a kid, I thought, man, these piece of crap calves, you know, this dang stock contractor, this or that. And the biggest thing I took away from it when I started being the director and seeing the other side of it, the production, stock contractors, what it takes for them guys to put on a rodeo just in that city, let alone pack everything up and be at the next one in 2 days to put on another rodeo. Like, I've just had so much newfound respect for everybody, like in the whole office at Colorado Springs for the PRCA, like what they go through. I was the first guy to be like, my card ain't hitting. That's, you know, or just, why is this slack scheduled on top of this day? Like, it ain't that hard. Like, no, it is hard, man. Like, the stuff that I've learned from them and just understanding how all this has to move to work. Yeah. And that's kind of the biggest thing. And in turn, really, it's helped my attitude quite a bit because I'm like, man, they don't care. They don't care if you got kicked. Nobody cares. Don't make a scene. Don't get fined. Go on with it and try to be better at the next one, you know? And so, like, it's just helped me a lot, like, mentally, like, knowing what everybody goes through to put on a rodeo and to have you come to their town. And then in turn, and the committees that I've got good relationships with, you know, it's been awesome to now I go to a rodeo, people come find me and thank me for, you know, not being a tie down roper, but for dealing with it all, for being the director. And I'll tell you this, it's a thankless job, man. It's the most thankless job because I'm on my phone way too much. I already am before I was a director, and now I'm on my phone way too much, but I'm 90% of the time when I'm on the phone, I'm trying to help our guys out some way or another, you know?
Does being a director, sometimes you get a little hot with your call, like a flag man, or I don't know if you have a relationship, you'll get a little hot on the back of the horse. Do you feel like you get a little bit more, you're more comfortable to be bold and say what you believe now that you're in the position?
Man, my deal is I just feel like we all have a job. And like, let's do the job to the best of our ability. And if I see you not doing your job the best that you can do, I'm going to let you know. And I got a great relationship with the judges and everybody up there at Procom, but they also know that I'm going to call a spade and goes with the stock contractors too, man. If you're going to call me and say, hey, you know, I got a set of calves that's pretty light. Can you approve them? And I do approve them and I get over there and the reason they're light is because they're unhealthy. I'm going to let you know, like, that dog ain't going to hunt, man. Like, we ain't doing this. You know what I mean? And so I just want to hold people accountable because I know I'm held accountable for my actions and for what I do as a director. So as far as like that, like, yeah, you'll see me. And I'm passionate, man. I'll be the first one to tell you, like, I'm emotional, but I'm passionate. It's because I love this shit, man. Like, roping calves and watching these guys time in 6 and 7, like, it's what I love. And I just want to make sure everybody is doing their part to get it where it needs to be.
2 good questions. I'm glad you stopped me.
Yeah, for sure.
But bring him in, coach. Tell you, turn him in, coach.
So you heard about Shane Hanchey being the world champion and having all the accolades he had. You probably already knew most of that. This one might have been more interesting talking to Shane about all the outside the arena stuff and getting his in-depth look at the sports that we all love. And so what do you say? Let's freaking rodeo.
Let's freaking rodeo. Thanks, guys.